Which was the first famous person you shot?
Deepika Padukone when she was 8 years old.
India fell in love with Yana Gupta.
Yeah, but not before I did. Yeah, I was the first one to see her. So she was everywhere.
A lot of people bought the tickets just to see that.
Have you seen the hoarding in Bombay? I said, where did you put a hoarding? He said, in Bombay. As the flight takes off, you can see the big 100-foot hoarding. 100-foot hoarding?
Welcome to the Tuhin Show. This is powered by the Style.world. This is another episode of the Icons of Bengaluru, the heroes of Namma city who made us proud. Joining me today is an acclaimed fashion photographer who changed the landscape of fashion through his lens. 40 years in the industry, worked with more than 4,000 brands, the mega energetic, lovable, sweet photographer from Namuru, Bengaluru, Waseem Khan.
Yes! What an introduction. I love it. I love it.
You know?
Absolutely. No, not. I have never been introduced in such a brilliant way. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm here. Now I can sleep soundly for the next few days. It's beautiful.
What about the energy? You get so much of energy. कहाँ से आती है वो energy?
I think it's based on me doing everything that I love doing. And the moment that happens and you're doing stuff that you love to do, then automatically the energy comes from that because you're tuned to doing it. You're excited about everything that you want to do, and
right.
It just follows through. And I think I always had a natural sense of positivity. Like I radiated that positivity when I went anywhere.
Right.
So even if I didn't feel it on my way to it, I'd be sitting like this in the car or whatever. The moment I get there, my eyes open wide and I say, man, let's do this. I conquer this fucking world. Is my question I ask people who have this thanda air about them. Oh, you know, this is what, oh yeah, let's take the picture. I'm not into that.
Right.
I'm into not just waking myself up when I'm down, but also waking other people up. Come on, shake yourself out of this shit. You know, let's do something exciting. It's that. If that comes through, I think 90% of our world will wake up.
So you don't drink, you don't smoke. How do you socialize? What is your idea of socializing then?
You know, my logic all these years has been, no one can match my energy and the way I am as a person unless they've had 2-3 drinks.
Okay.
So I always land up a little later so that they've all had their 2-3 drinks and they've come to my level. Now I can talk to you.
Wow. कहाँ से secret sauce energy का क्या है?
अंदर से है.
अंदर से है कुछ.
Built in. Everything is impromptu in my life.
Right.
I land up and I make the best of what I'm given. This is my platform. I'm with Tuhin, the great Tuhin Anshu, powered by Style.world. And I'm here to make it special. I'm here.
We'll make it special. You're special and I'm here to ask you all the questions.
Thank you, my friend.
Just don't hold back.
Never hold back.
We'll talk about photography. Once I asked you, what is your secret sauce? What do you do in your photography? You told me, nothing, I just go there, click pictures and अच्छा आ जाता है and all that.
Yeah.
But what is the secret sauce of fashion photography?
So I believe that if you're pure about whatever you do, that purity is just going to come through in the work that you do. There have been moments that perhaps it's not come out the way neither I or the client might have expected. But I've always gone back with a purity and said, let's do it again. I believe that it's not okay. Let's do it again. And I've killed it out of the park. You know, so I think it's about that purity of that vision, me wanting to create something exciting. I'm an impulsive, instinctive person. I try not to plan too far ahead. So if you ask me, as many people during my workshops, during my Canon days, I used to do a lot of photography workshops. There would be 500, 600 photographers sitting there and they'd ask me questions like you're asking me now. It doesn't make sense to me because I don't have a secret sauce. The secret sauce is love. The secret sauce is loving what I'm doing. A lot of ingredients go into that love and they all meld together to give me the energy and the excitement to be able to create something special. So I will land up wanting to do something kick-ass, something amazing, something exciting.
So three L's should be in order.
Yeah.
The lens, the light, and the lady. You're shooting.
And love.
And
love is first, right on top. I need to love. I need to love. So
Right.
unless I've fallen in love with someone I am going to shoot, I won't shoot. I might cancel on the day of the shoot itself because I'm still not so into it, you know, or the person I'm shooting. For many years, that's why I didn't shoot with a guy. I said, how can I love a guy? That's a bit limiting, you know, because
Right,
so now, lately, I've started shooting with a lot of guys. And you'd ask me, so you're falling in love with guys also? I say, yeah, man, I have to. Tomorrow, if I want to shoot Tuhin, I want to be in love with you. I'm
Right.
already half in love with you.
Okay.
But the moment you say, come and shoot with me, I will work on that also. Because I feel that I can love anybody. Love is open, love is free, love is everywhere. And I have it, full of it. I'm full of it.
Baba Waseem Khan. ki
Yeah,
jai ho.
seriously.
But
No,
tell me one thing. Fashion photography, when you started off, it was a niche altogether. Okay? Then how did you get into this? Did you have the 3 idiot moment? Ki abba nahi manenge.
My dad was the first one who brought me a camera when he was in the Middle East.
Okay.
1978,
Wow. Okay.
when I was in my 10th standard.
Okay.
He brought a camera basically for me to take pictures of the family and send it back to him because he felt alone.
Okay. What was he doing there?
He was working in clothing company,
Okay.
fashion company, which was it was run by an Indian guy, and he was manning. He was
Okay.
the main guy behind it. And that's what basically, the moment I saw that camera, I got obsessed. And I have another friend who is the national swimming coach of the Indian swimming team,
Okay.
Nihar Amin.
Huh.
He was also into photography because he was shooting his sister, who is a breaststroke swimming champion, and he used to shoot pictures of her in the pool.
Okay.
So he had his own Minolta camera. I had my Ricoh camera, which my father brought me. And amazingly, someone told my father, don't just take a snapshot camera. Take a nice proper camera with 3 lenses and flash and everything. So he brought that for me
Acha.
to take family pictures.
Wow.
Because my father, if he believed in something, he wanted to do it properly.
Did people come to you and ask you, click my passport size pictures
Many
also?
times. Even today, I get calls. Sir, I saw your thing on Google. What time can I come for passport size pictures?
Huh.
And I'm saying, I'll give you a number. I say, call them. They will do a proper passport size picture. I might be a little too expensive for you. That's how I put it.
Acha, your father sent you all the
so he sent me a
equipment.
camera. And then Nihar and me started experimenting in the dark room. We used to shoot film. We started shooting a lot of pictures together. He used to shoot his sister Shanaz in the pool. I used to take some portraits of her as well. And that's how we began. That's how my obsession began.
Okay.
And my entire education got dived.
What were you studying?
I finished my 10th. And
Okay.
then I was doing commerce in Christ College.
Okay. Did you finish
And,
that?
just about scraped through. Managed. Just about.
You managed.
Managed somehow.
Fitty, yeah.
After many attempts. So I have a little anecdote about this. A few years later, maybe 7-8 years later, I went to Christ College. I was honored because they wanted an ex-student who had done well for himself. And I used to be in the papers all the time. So when I went, I was sitting next to the principal, and I was going to be talking to the students to inspire them. And I told the father, I can't remember his name, but the principal, I told him, Father, I just managed, I had to do maths and tax and accountancy quite a few times just to pass because I was so obsessed with photography. And he said, no, congratulations, you've done very well. But when you talk to the students, please don't mention this, that you paid your education very less attention. Please don't mention it. So, it's just about what you're passionate about and what you're excited about. You do it. You do it the best way you can. And I believe that counts for more than a mere degree or whatever, It never helped me for anything. My degree didn't come into it. I have a degree in BCom.
Achha.
But I don't care. It didn't give me one thing in my many years. Not one.
You can calculate fast, na, after doing BCom.
I can. I know exactly how
handle
much my
accounts.
clients have to pay me, and I know how to get the money.
But what was your first professional
I was lucky.
photography thing?
I was
like?
lucky. 1986, I believe, was the first time I was at a party,
Acha,
as is my scene. I love to party.
right.
So I was at this party at a place called Harsha Hotel, where they had the original Indian restaurant called Chowpal, where
Okay.
everyone went. And I went for a New Year's party, which was very, very exclusive at that time. And I met my old friend from school, his name is Harish Malan, who I met after school,
Yeah.
after many years. And I had just printed my visiting card that afternoon, Waseem Khan photography. And he said, "What do you do as a photographer?" I just printed my card today. He said, "Oh, fantastic. It's New Year. 2nd of January we open. Come and meet my boss. She's the right-hand person of Vijay Mallya. We have a job to do. Come and meet her and let's see what happens." I said, "Fantastic." Went through the party the rest of the day, the rest of the night. And second, I promptly landed up at UB for the meeting. And I walked into the office. I met her. 10-15 minutes of conversation. She asked me simple things. I didn't have a great big portfolio to show. I just started my work. And she said, "Thank you so much for coming. Please ask Harish to come in and meet me." I walked out and Harish said, "Everything okay?" I said, "Yeah. I had a meeting. She's asked you to come in." So he goes in. He comes back looking really puzzled. He said, "The meeting went off well?" I said, "Yeah, I think I just answered a few things." She says, "Give you the job." On what basis? I didn't see any work. But she's the boss. And she's like the prima donna. She was, at that time, she dictated everything. She was Vijay Mallya's right-hand person. Whatever she said goes. She was the boss. And everyone looked at, they said she's the dragon lady. You got to be really careful of her.
Right.
So he's asking me, he's saying, "What did you say?" Because in 10 minutes, she says, "Give you the job."
Ah.
I said, "I think she likes me. That's it." That's when I started realizing, and not that just then, but I think even before, I realized that I had a special equation with the female humans. I had a special equation. I think they sense that they can trust me. I'm a good guy.
Wow. Then it started growing from there. Then client after
UB
client and client.
UB group as a whole, and that was a big assignment. 52 days shooting for the UB group all over the country.
Okay.
For their corporate showroom on Vittal Mallya Road, right opposite.
Right.
Vijay Mallya had a dream. He had bought this place opposite, and he said, "I want every single space of the walls and ceilings to be covered with pictures of all my companies, 54 companies at that time.
Okay.
Except Kashmir, because the Kashmir problem had begun at that time. So they said, cut out Kashmir, the companies in Kashmir is too dangerous. Every single other company. So I shot all that. That was my first job.
Okay. You made the ceiling of Vijay Mallya's
For
room.
1,500 rupees per day.
Wow.
Travel by flight at a time when that was not so.
1986, 87.
Accommodation in 5 stars if not available, 4 star if not available, 3 star. That was my first job. So when I went back home and I told them and I showed that contract, they were like, "My, karo man, karo."
Or karo.
Fantastic, So that's how I began.
But how was it being in Vijay Mallya's team?
See, the thing is that when someone gives you an opportunity like that, you just want to do it. And he had such an aura about him that anything he wants to do with you, you say yes, you want to do it.
Right.
And he's just an exciting personality as well,
I wanted everything to be stylish.
Yeah, but then, he never got involved in the actual working of it. Like even with his Kingfisher calendar, he didn't really get involved in it. He learned to trust people to do the best that they could for you. So then it was UB Group, then it was Tata Steel, Wipro Computers, TVS Suzuki. And until I went to 1991, to England in 1991, and I did a 1 week small little course on fashion photography at the London College of Fashion. When I came back, I didn't want to do any products. I didn't want to do any other kind of photography except fashion.
Right.
And specifically with females, with women, with girls. I didn't want to shoot anything else. So for many years, I stuck that out. For nearly 30, 35 years, I didn't shoot any
Products.
male-based
Okay.
photography. I only shot fashion with women.
Why you didn't want to shoot with
It's
men?
just there are certain things that you can say when you're shooting women that you can't really say to guy, you know.
Okay.
And that connection, like I said, I've got a strong feminine side. I connect to women very easily.
Who was the first person you shot when you came back and started your fashion photography?
There was a girl I used to shoot a lot with that time called Sarita. So she was amazing. She was 6 feet tall, light eyes, crazy hair. Everyone wanted to shoot with her, and she only wanted to shoot with me.
Okay.
So the Prasad Vidappa of this world, the Hemant Trivedis and the Sunit Varmas, they all wanted to shoot with her. They all wanted to give her assignments. And she wasn't bothered. And she just said, no, I'll only shoot with Basi.
So how do they choose? Like if say a fashion brand would say, okay, Waseem Khan is shooting my portfolio. Will you choose the model, or the model will choose the photographer?
I'll always recommend 4 or 5 models.
Okay.
And then whoever they choose in that 5 is okay for me.
Okay.
Unless they come with a name and say we only want to work with her, then I will give my recommendations.
Which was the first famous person you shot? Were you starstruck that time?
Deepika Padukone when she was 8 years old. Yeah, and I was starstruck. When Prakash came with Deepika for that shoot, with his little daughter who wanted to do modeling, I was more starstruck with Prakash Padukone, because he's such an incredible icon in sports. And for me, that was like, oh my God, Prakash Padukone has come to my studio.
Right.
And for me, that was the amazing thing. And I did take a family portrait of all of them. Prakash, Nujala and Deepika and her little sister,
Right.
Anisha. And the thing is that what struck me is how simple and sweet and normal Prakash Padukone is as a human being. And that, I think, was one of the first experiences for me with a superstar. And sports people around the world are more superstars than any other business, actually. And so for me, it was like, wow, he's so amazing. And I always then decided, no matter how famous I get, I will be approachable, I will be simple, I will be sweet.
I think that's what the Bangalore is all about.
I think so. The old Bangalore, not people like you, but I think, you know. But I mean, traditionally, if you look at Bangalore 20, 25, 30 years ago, it was a small space.
Right.
Before IT became big, Bangalore was a small city with a few people. Everybody knew everybody. And the people who came out of here, we were known for our simplicity.
Very close-knit.
Very close-knit.
Everybody knew everyone. Yeah.
Everybody knew everybody. You knew everybody by first name. You were friends. And
So,
it was a small community.
उस वक्त vibe क्या थी when you started off and you were into photography? You got into fashion photography also. That was like the glamour galore that time.
Yeah.
Hitting 90s, matlab glamour is taking new shape.
Yeah.
New clothing is coming. New actors are coming. Internationally, everything was changing. What was the vibe back then for you?
It was very chilled out, man. Very relaxed, very comfortable. The vibe was, about, like I was saying earlier, a small city. A small vibe. You knew a few people, you partied with them, and you were great friends. And then things started happening post 95, 94, 95, when IT started happening. Lots more people started coming into Bangalore. And the vibe started changing ever so slightly, becoming a little more upmarket. People had more money to spend, and automatically that changes the vibe.
Right.
Previously, people who were maybe perhaps simple turned a little more, like snooty, because they had more money.
Like who?
Generally,
Actors?
generally, Actors.
Businessmen.
This is one thing about actors that I feel that people say, oh, she's become too snooty now. She's, as soon as she's become a star, she's become too snooty. I believe that's okay. In your Punjabi or Hindi, they say, banta hai. They've achieved. They've, so you calling them, she's changed completely from a sweet person, she's gone now, she's become Bollywood personality and she's become too big for her boots, all that nonsense. I don't believe that's right.
Okay.
I just believe it comes with that what you've achieved. You've become a superstar, damn it. You banta hai. You have to show attitude.
Right.
Because otherwise people will tend to take advantage of it.
Right.
So it's a defense mechanism. It's a security mechanism. You leave it to your managers to handle for you.
Right.
You don't go out in the public.
What is the kind of evolution you have seen as a fashion photographer?
Essentially, it's remained the same, but digital has changed the whole thing around. It's become so accessible to everybody. And when Photoshop, the first version of Photoshop came to my hand in 95, 96, 97, I think it was 98, I had to make a decision. Should I remain a purist and say, no, I'll only shoot film. I'll only shoot on my Mamiya 6x4.5 or I will shoot on my view camera, Toyo or Sinar. I won't touch anything else. I'm not going to get into digital. I am definitely not going to touch a picture on Photoshop. No way am I going to. If I had thought that, I wouldn't have been relevant for even more than 3 or 4 years after that.
Okay.
Because the scene changed. It became normal. From a point where people were asking you, has this been photoshopped? To a point where they didn't even ask you. It didn't matter.
Or they would say Photoshop this.
Exactly. It took some time to achieve that, but I think it's important for us to realize that change is the only constant and you have to move with it. So now when people say AI has come, what will happen to you? I learn. Or I just don't do AI and in a few years I won't be relevant.
Which part is Photoshopped the most? Which part of the body?
I think skin.
Okay. The color tone.
The skin. The skin itself is wiped out. The pores and the dots and the moles and everything just gets taken out immediately, And you can do it with lighting. You can do it with a filter, which Gautam Rajadhyaksha made it very famous at one point of time. He used to shoot the best, most amazing pictures of Rekha. Rekha already knew such incredible makeup for herself, but on top of that, you put that small diffuser, soft filter on his lens, and she was like, oh my God, pure silk. Her skin was like silk. And at one point of time, I used to look at it and say, oh, Bombay plastic. I used to call it Bombay Bollywood plastic.
Okay.
Because you didn't have texture.
Right.
But it worked. The stars were happy because they looked sublime. Everyone else, their followers looked at them and say, oh my God, how beautiful. I can never be like that. Now, everyone can look that way. I can look that way. My skin can be pure.
Right.
The moment you put a little filter, you take out all those dots, and you're beautiful. Because Instagram has changed our personality so
Yes, it has.
It's become so
about photos.
Pictures, videos, reels, the whole. That's another thing that I have evolved with, I've learned on how to make reels. I work on it every day. I want to know how it is. It's my personality.
Right.
And people ask me, they're very famous photographers who say, your whole profile has moved, it's shifted. You're not serious about still photography anymore? I say, yeah, I am. I love my still photography. That's where I came from. That's my core.
Right.
But what's the harm in me learning something more?
Yeah.
And what's the harm in showing my personality as a human being, as a person, not just as a photographer? I'm not famous because of my photography status. I'm famous as Waseem Khan.
Oh, that's really cool when we hang out with you.
Yeah.
We're dancing and even when you're shooting and all, the vibe is totally different. Yeah. You're dancing and all. But have you ever seen tantrums from models?
my next question you might ask me is who? But I think in my entire career of 40 years, I'm proud to say that I've had tantrums only twice.
Okay.
Both by foreign models, not by Indian models.
Okay.
And both times it was not related to anything that I was doing. So I was able to handle it. They had tantrums with the other model. Because two girls, both with head weight, both with a strong personality, and they're both working together with you on a particular brand. They have a problem with each other, and that affects the whole equation.
Fight.
Cat fight. Also once, one of those very rare things where I was shooting with a guy and a girl who both had a relationship before they came for the shoot.
Okay.
And they had a fantastic equation. They were in love. They were completely into each other. And we met on pre-production meetings. And before the shoot had actually happened, we had many meetings. And they were so much in love with her, they couldn't have enough of each other. And the morning of the shoot, they landed up with each wanting nothing to do with each other. They had a fight. That morning of the shoot, they had a fight and came to the shoot.
Okay.
And here I'm saying, what the fuck? They're just not. And the shoot itself was for a jewelry brand, I think. And where the guy had to be loving with this girl and the expressions had to be beautiful and looking into each other's eyes and holding hands, and it was all strained. They were like, so I took them aside and I said, guys, you have to save my life. Each of you are my friend. I need to do this. And if you want to show, you're eventually going to be in Bollywood at some time. If you too want to have a career in Bollywood, you have to show me what you've got and act.
International models जो बॉलीवुड में आ रहे थे, ऐसे कौन से मॉडल?
At that time, the first one I ever worked with was the original, the OG of foreign models getting into Bollywood was Yana Gupta.
Okay.
She was the first one.
Right.
And I was the first one who worked with her when she came into the country. She was in Pune.
Right.
The great Vipul Bhagat, the original makeup artist this country ever had. I remember this was for Amante's Bap, the lingerie company based in Sri Lanka, who made 80% of the world's lingerie for all the big brands.
Okay.
Called MAS. So they used to make the world's lingerie and they were my clients. So they wanted to make a corporate brochure with their pictures of all their lingerie. Victoria's Secret, Kalida, all kinds of brands were there at that time. So they made the world's lingerie and they asked me to do a corporate brochure.
Right.
And they wanted one African kind of guy. They wanted a complete dusky Indian girl. And they wanted a white foreign girl, Caucasian girl.
Okay.
Bangalore wasn't so developed at that time. We just had to be lucky to see some foreigner somewhere and please, can you model? And this was lingerie, so it was even more specific. So we needed a proper model from Europe. And we didn't have a foreign model agency at that time.
Right.
So I sent out feelers and I called up Vipul. I said, Vipul, I really need a foreign white model. Can you help me? The African guy we caught. Nigerian guys were floating in Bangalore from many years.
Oh, you caught somebody from the road?
Yeah. Then we had a Indian dusky model from Bombay, and we needed this white. So when I called him, I just this morning this girl came from Pune. She had a model card. She's a strong model from Czech Republic, and she's left her card with me. Why don't you use it? The moment I saw her face, I fell in love. I said, fantastic. So I called her up. I said,
India fell in love with Yana Gupta. India fell in love with Yana Gupta.
Yeah, but not before I did. Yeah, I was the first one to see her as a model in India. So I said, fantastic. She's perfect. I called her, booked her. I said, I don't care. You have to come down and do this shoot. And she came, and that was the first experience. And then we became such amazing friends. And she became just amazing in Bollywood. And she she was the first one who actually called me any number of times and said, I'm doing this music video for this movie.
Right.
Come and shoot it for me. Come and take the stills.
Was it
for
like
and stuff like that.
Babuji zara dheere
All those.
chalo?
All those. I said, no, I don't. I'm not into that scene. At that time, I was not as open as I am now. I mean, I had my own kind of work that I was doing, and that's all I wanted to do. So I didn't want to get into that scene. But, I wish I had. Now I wish
Then
I
she
had.
was the face for UB as well. For longest time.
For Kingfisher.
For Kingfisher Airlines.
Kingfisher, yeah. Kingfisher Airlines, yes.
Yes.
She was the first one who did the voice on call. So you walked into a
Yes.
flight, you sat down, you saw her first.
Yes.
So she was everywhere. She
A
was
lot
all
of people
over.
bought the tickets just to see that video.
Well, she'll be happy to know
Yeah.
that. So then
How
she
cool,
got-
yeah. You were the first one to see Yana Gupta.
Yeah.
And first one to see Yana Gupta in lingerie.
I found a lot of people. I didn't make them famous, as many people suggest. Like I worked with Deepika Padukone when she was, 8 years old. I think I was one of the first few people who worked with Anushka Sharma. I think I was one of the first few people who worked with Lara Datta. Lara walked into my studio when she was 16, and we started working together, and then she went to Bombay. I was one of the very, very first few people who actually found Diya Mirza in Hyderabad.
Okay.
Yeah, so she hadn't even come to Bangalore.
She was chosen for Miss Pacific.
Yeah,
Miss
Asia
India
Pacific.
Pacific.
Asia Pacific.
Asia
yeah.
Pacific.
So I shot with her first. I did
Right.
her first portfolio, and we shot quite a few times after that.
Your wife never objected you being close to so many beautiful models?
Wife? What wife? Well, no one really knows I'm married, actually.
Okay.
Because my wife chose many years ago to not be a part of my career. And at one point of time, because I used to be in Bangalore Times so often in the press, I couldn't walk out and sit in a restaurant without at least 8 or 10 youngsters coming in saying they'd love to work with me, do my portfolio.
Sir,
da, da,
हमारी
da.
photo खींचो, हमारी खींचो.
So, if you went out for a meal with your family, she won't get any time from me, So she said, listen, you're too much of a superstar. I don't want to come out with you anywhere. Thank you very much. When we go out, we'll go somewhere. That also didn't work for some time in the south, because Bangalore Times was the only thing that went to Cochin, Hyderabad, Chennai, everywhere in the south. So when I went there, I was recognized there as well.
Okay.
So she said, thank you so much. You are this persona. At home, we are what we are, but outside, I don't want to be seen with you.
This is such a big thing because every day you're out, but your wife is at home.
She's out with her friends.
Okay.
She's got her own set of friends. She's got her family. She's very, very cool with that. Sometimes the cross meets somewhere, and we land up at the same place, but always in her kind of place, in her perspective, with the people whom she knows. And the moment I know someone and someone comes to meet me, that's it, she's gone.
Talk about your shoot and being cool on the shoot and all. Have you ever gotten angry, lost your temper while shooting?
Unfortunately for me, my earlier years in my career, I had a certain attitude.
What did you do?
Simple things would have made me angry, like perhaps someone not doing their job. My assistant perhaps dropping a lens or something. It's a big thing, right?
Dropped a lens?
Yeah. Many times it's happened.
Okay.
Where they've, in the hurry, I've wanted a lens and it's not come on time, or it's whatever, that in their ghabra moment, they've kind of dropped the lens or something. I flipped out. Obviously, I flipped out. It won't happen now. Over at least the last 7-8 years, I've gone into Buddha mode.
Buddha mode or the Buddha mode?
Buddha. I'm very chilled out. I'm very peaceful. I'm respectful always of everyone around me.
But tell me your most memorable shoot.
Probably the most memorable one was Lee Jeans. 2002, 2003, we didn't have foreign model agency in this country.
Okay.
I used to work a lot in Singapore and Melbourne. I had access to a lot of model agencies outside the country. I could have brought, and I did many times, bring foreign models into India to shoot. The client was Arvind Mills. Arvind Mills at that time handled the brand Lee jeans. They wanted to do something really exciting. Their ad agency, creative agency called and asked me if I'll come over to see them. And they had a concept. Models in jeans, 3 foreign models in jeans, 2 girls, 1 guy. Blue sky, white sand. Can we do this in Rajasthan? April is when we had the meeting. We need to do a catalog and we need to do a campaign. I'm saying Rajasthan, in the height of summer, models' makeup will be melting, we'll all be dying. I've just shot a campaign in Sri Lanka in December with 12 models on the beach. You sweat, but it's not super hot. That would be the ideal place to shoot. So, I had also seen a guest catalogue in Singapore, which I had brought with me, which had a similar feel. So I showed them that and they immediately said, it's fantastic, let's do it. I know the beach, it's Mount Lavinia Beach, we go and shoot. Went, I produced the whole shoot. That was the first time I realized that I can actually take over a production. I can put it together myself and not just be a photographer. I dictate terms. I am the boss. Went to Colombo, we shot that whole campaign for 3-4 days, came back. It was a huge success. The shots were all over the place. It wasn't meant to be used on hoardings. It was meant to be just a catalog. It was also my first shoot with a 6 megapixel digital camera.
Wow.
6.1 megapixel camera, which they were saying, even Nikon actually told me at that time, you can only blow it up to catalog size. So we shot it for catalog. Shot it for the catalog. The catalog was successful. Brilliant, beautiful images, everyone happy. Walked into the client's office, a guy called Darshan Mehta, who is the head of the company, MD. He walked out of his office, said, hey Waseem, how are you? Da da da. Your shots are fantastic, huh? Brilliant campaign, went very successfully. Have you seen the hoarding in Bombay? I said, hoarding, it wasn't meant to be shot for a hoarding. We shot on digital file, 6.1 megapixel. It was meant to be for, we already had to do some Photoshop work to bring the small images to a certain level so that the pictures can be fantastic. For a catalog. And here he's talking about a hoarding. And I said, no. He said, where? I said, where did you put a hoarding? He said, in Bombay, as the flight takes off, you can see the big 100-foot hoarding. 100-foot hoarding? And how is it? Tentatively, I asked him. He said, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fine. I think it was the viewing distance. You know, from far away when you're seeing it, you don't make out the pixels.
Right.
It worked out. And so that was my most precious campaign. And what happened from that also is that at that time, the Ad Club of India gave me the Best Photographer of the Year award for that.
Okay.
For that particular campaign, 2004. I also shot multiple things on yachts and stuff for Kingfisher Ultra Beer, which were beautiful with, 88 models and superb campaign shot in Goa, all over the place.
The glamorous life you have seen.
Yeah.
For you, it may be the normal thing, but for the other person, it's a glamorous life you see. But what is behind that glamorous life? What you see?
Yeah, it's about, it's a privilege to be a part of this fraternity, to be able to access certain moments that perhaps other people won't have access to. That line is bridging the gap quite a bit now. Everyone has access to everything now.
Right.
But having said that, there's still a certain limit to what normal people, perceived normal people can have access to, compared to perhaps me. I think that's probably the only difference. And I think it's what, for instance, now at this moment, I'm being seen by quite a few very beautiful, very different, very exotic models who have come from Italy and all over the world. And I'm hanging out with them as friends. Perhaps most other people don't have that access. I have that. I'm partying with them. I'm on a different, level compared to other people. Everyone's staring at us when we go to an event or a party or whatever. Perhaps that's Their perception of it is different.
On that, let me ask you, what's the worst rumor about you have heard?
That I was having an affair with Yana Gupta.
You wanted it to be true?
No,
No?
we were just amazing friends.
Yeah.
Very, very close. Very, very simple.
Have you ever been prepositioned?
Yeah. It's common. It's commonplace even today. Yeah, sure. There's a line that I have for the last 40 years drawn for myself. I don't cross that line.
What's the indecent proposal you have ever received?
Let's go for a wild, crazy weekend to Goa. Let's have a ball. Let's have fun. Let's do everything that you always wanted to do in life. What I do now is what I always wanted to do in life. So I'm doing it already. What else? That sounded like an indecent proposal to me at that
They probably
time.
wanted you to come and shoot their action.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Which I won't do.
So this offer came from a lady or a man?
Always ladies. Lately, I've been getting a lot of offers from men. Yeah.
Let's go to
so
Goa.
shows the sign of my changing evolution. Yeah. My answer will still be no. Lady
Okay.
or man or animal.
So when you're shooting and all,
Quite
what kind of snacks are there on your shoot?
Always stuff that I like.
Like what?
There'll always be chocolate.
Okay.
There'll always be cheese. For Indian models, there'll always be something chatpata.
Okay.
Kebab rolls is an important thing.
You
Foreign
can eat
models-
all these. The models can't eat these.
They
things.
can. Oh, there are a lot of models who love all this kind of food.
Okay.
When my studio was briefly in my own apartment, models like Jackie and Pashmina and Niharika would, the first thing they'll walk in and say, okay, what have you cooked today? And I used to love cooking as well, so
Right.
I still do. My fridge would always have a lasagna which I've made, or a moussaka which I've made, or I would have made a nice chicken curry, which,
Right.
there'll always be some leftovers. The models will walk in and first they'll go to my fridge and open it to see what I've made. And they'll eat first before they... Now it comes from outside. There'll be some drinks as well if they like, just to get them in the mood. Everyone's not like me. I don't need anything for me to land up and say, let's go!
But if you keep wine and all, what's the biggest faux pas you have seen during a shoot?
I have a crazy story. I had a shoot for a Indian wear company called Sadhwani's. I was going to Australia, one of my first trips to Australia, and I was shooting in Sydney. And so the client said, take all our clothes, shoot with a foreign model, shoot on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and get that kind of landscape and opera house and all of that. And I said, fantastic. So I took a full suitcase of clothes from beautiful Indian clothes, 70,000, 80,000 rupees each, 50,000 rupees each. But a friend from the same friend who I lived with in Sydney called and said, I miss my XXX. Please bring me 2 bottles of XXX and 2 bottles of Old Monk.
XXX rum.
Yeah. Please. Thank
Yeah.
you. XXX. Yeah. Rum and Old Monk rum.
Huh.
So 2 bottles of each. I packed it, I put it in cellophane, I wrapped it, all of that. Put it amongst the clothes. I took only 1 suitcase. Landed in Sydney, went to the house, opened the suitcase. All the clothes are red. 1 bottle had leaked out.
Okay.
Gone. So that's one of the few times that alcohol messed
Can
up
ruin
my
the shoot.
messed up my shoot. Yeah, messed up my shoot. Completely messed it up. Yeah, and they had paid me in advance.
Okay.
So I came back here and I did a fantastic reshoot for them with Indian models here at my cost.
Okay.
But I couldn't do it in Sydney, unfortunately.
The rum.
Rum was the spoil sport. I'm not into substance abuse of any kind. I'm not even into substances. Like you mentioned earlier, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So I will not allow it on my shoot.
What's your vice then?
I love a bit too much. I think that too much of anything is bad, they say, nah? It should be in moderation. I tend to love too much. I'm a lovable person and I love to love. I give wholly. Sometimes my heart gets broken a lot.
What's your view on social gathering and gossip?
Oh, I love it. I
What
love
do you
it
love?
all.
Social gathering or
I
gossip?
love both. I love both. I don't add to it, but I love hearing stuff. So if you have lots to tell me, I love to hear. Please.
What was
give
the
me
last
a-
gossip you heard?
I just heard that someone's left their husband and 2 kids to be with a guy, with another guy,
In India or traveling
and
abroad
another
now?
girl. in India, in Bangalore.
What's the most exotic piece of clothing you have shot?
So designers want to showcase their creativity when they want to do stuff, right? So there's always some creative genius trying to make some amazing things. There's this one time, one young designer landed up with a dress cut from the stomach outwards like that.
Okay.
So the stomach downwards is completely
Nothing.
showing. There's nothing
Okay.
there. So she's got to wear some kind of a panty or something like that. It looked beautiful. So rest of it is flowing. The top of it is nice. There's a nice cleavage, low cleavage, couple of buttons, and so there's this gold panty that she's made to go with this gold and black top, this jacket, and that was fine. That's okay. But when the designer actually wanted to make it a little more freakish, at one point of time he said, take off the panty and just cover it with your hands.
Okay.
I said, no. Don't do it. Not now. I'm talking about just 99, I think 1999.
Okay.
Just to be different, just to be like, and if you looked at that designer, very, very simple, sweet one, but just to make an impact, they wanted to do something.
Trying to be creative.
crazy like that.
Yeah.
For me, at that particular time, it didn't seem like a good enough reason to do it. I refused.
Okay.
I said, no, I won't do it.
But what's the dress you remember? Like it was wow. It was like out of this world.
Oh, there have been some quite amazing dresses. I mean, Mano Viraj has always been my favorite fashion designer. And at one point of time, now he makes mainly men's clothes, but at one point in time, he used to make brilliant women's clothing. And I Viraj, if you're watching, please get back to making beautiful women's clothes again. He truly makes amazing women's clothes, and he doesn't do enough of it. Extravagant in terms of money and no expenses and stuff like that. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the Kingfisher Ultra shoot, where we hired yachts,
Okay.
shot in a casino. We shot at the JW Marriott Hotel in Goa. The Marriott Hotel, yeah, the Marriott Hotel. The JW still hadn't come. It was the Marriott Hotel in Goa. Beautiful property. We shot in the open sea in a yacht.
Okay.
Magnificent, truly magnificent.
Wow.
That in terms of extravagance, yeah, we did. And I think that, that's another aspect of my career, which opened up after my Lee shoot in Sri Lanka, where I had access to all these people who would just find me a yacht, find me
Right.
a yacht of this kind.
And you would do that. Yeah.
I still can. That's the most amazing thing, that I can actually set up these extravagant, beautiful, larger than life shoots on my own, not have to depend on a production house, production agency to be able to get all that done.
Which is the most exotic model you have shot with?
I'd have to go back to the OG. I think Yana Gupta for sure.
Okay.
She had something incredible in her to make every shoot super special. She's always been the original one for me. Another girl called Myra Pietrocola.
Okay.
She's Italian. She's from a little village called Bari, Sanicandro di Bari in Italy. Well, at the moment, I'm shooting another Italian model in India. We just finished shooting yesterday,
Okay.
one part of it. Her name is Janice Avalone,
Okay.
and she is in India with her twin sister,
Okay.
Asia Avalone. So both those twins, mark my word, are going to be the incredible, exotic, most beautiful girls in town for some time until they leave. Janice is about 6 feet tall. Asya is just about an inch or two shorter than her.
Okay.
Both are stunning.
If I ask you any three people you would want to shoot from different walks of life, who would that be? Three names in your head.
Different walks of life other than modeling
Other
and
than
acting.
modeling. Yes.
I would love to shoot with Narayan Murthy again.
Okay.
After 34 years, I shot him for their annual report
Okay.
for Infosys. Again from the business world, Kiran Mazumdar Shaw. She's been a friend
Okay.
for more than 30 years. We used to party together in the old UB days. I just completed one beautiful one which I've always wanted to do. Atul Kasbekar, I believe, is a really good-looking man.
I saw that photograph.
So he called me out
Saw
of the
that
blue.
session.
It was like a huge surprise for me. In fact, I asked him. I said, "You have access to so many brilliant photographers in the country. Why would you want me to come and shoot you for one of your most precious brands, which was Hublot watches? He's the brand ambassador for India." He asked me if I'll come and shoot him. I flew to Bombay to shoot that campaign for him. I'm really honored, apart from him being a very, very close friend of mine. And this is how he put it. He said, "You're a good photographer and you're a friend. What else do I have to say?" And we went and shot. It was so comfortable. We finished that shoot like that, so easily. We got some great pictures as well.
What is friendship for you?
Friendship is everything. Everything. I
What
mean,
is
it just means everything to me. If I don't have friends, if my family is not my friends, if my friends are not my friends, I would just be gutted.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think I have a huge circle of friends who I call friends.
But few close
But there are maybe 10 who are like my closest friends. But I think the line is very blurred for me. I mean, I call everyone my friend
Okay.
because I have that personality. I have a huge heart.
What's Bengaluru for you? What's your love with Bangalore?
Oh, that's a good question. Bengaluru is everything for me. Everything. I mean, I have fought so many battles with various people in my life for me to live somewhere else. London, like I mentioned earlier, London, Melbourne, Singapore, Mumbai. I remember Atul Kasbekar when he first came to Bangalore, came to India back from his course in America. We used to hang out quite a bit during the IPA, the Advertising and Industrial Photographers Association of India. I used to be one of the founder members of the South. Atul was in the West, and we were such good friends at one point of time that he always used. He suggested it quite a few times. Come to Bombay. Why are you hanging out on a place? And a lot of those famous supermodels at that time, Meher Jessia, Shamoli Varma, Sheetal Malar, they used to say, "Fashion, photographer, living in Bangalore, you should be in Bombay." They would always say that. But my connection with Bangalore is so strong. I've always wanted to come back home.
Right.
And people say it's weather's so good, and it's just a vibe.
थोड़ा easy going है ना यहाँ पे.
I don't know. There are many things.
Right.
There are many aspects to it. You can say weather. You can say Bangalore people are different. You can say they are more humble. All of that. You can put it into many different baskets. But I think it's just a Bangalore is a personality. It's just incredible, and I can't leave that.
Your three must-visit places in Bangalore.
I love the Vidhan Sauda, man. There's something about that structure that's always, and it also probably has to do with every Sunday when we were kids. My parents used to take us to two places. The old Koshis on Brigade Road served a fantastic, for us at that time, fantastic masala dosa.
Okay.
It was a tradition, and we would go to Vidhan Sauda afterwards to sit on the lawns. There was no fence in those days. Everything was open. You could walk around the corridors in Vidhan Sauda. So we used to sit on the lawns with some being from a Muslim background, Muslim family at that time, an important element of our lives used to be food. So we'd carry some biryani kind of thing or samosas or something and sit on that lawn with other family friends, and the lights would come on at 7 p.m. on a Sunday. Sunday evening, that was the scene. It was a special nostalgic feeling from that time.
Right.
And so for me, Vidhan Sauda is very, very important. It's I try to, every time I'm going towards that side of town, I try to pass through Vidhan Sauda just to have one glimpse
Nice.
of the building.
Well, it's a beautiful structure and it's one of its kind in India.
Yeah, it's very special. And I keep reading that sign on top from the time I was a kid. Government's work is God's work.
इसलिए सब भगवान भरोसे है.
Yeah, so our government and all of that gets a lot of brickbats sometimes from people, and people say they're not doing their job properly and this happens and that happens. I just believe that, it's just live and let live, man. Everyone's doing their job. Everyone's doing their job the best way they can, like I am, so don't complain. Be cool, chill.
Be cool,
be
cool.
Bangalorean.
Yeah. A fashion trend you don't understand.
There's nothing I don't understand.
Kuch to hoga, which you're like, why?
Everything is cool.
Okay.
So like that guy who wanted the girl to remove her panty to do that shot. Today, if it was a reasonable thing for me to believe in creatively, I would jump at it. I wouldn't have any hesitation about doing it, but lend my artistic and aesthetic ability to it to make it very beautiful. I would probably suggest another thought or another idea for him to make it better.
Okay.
He's still around.
A thing you have done before but will not do it again.
Have an ego, that's for sure. I had an ego. Yeah, I had a big ego, especially those times when people used to treat me differently. I'd walk on MG Road and then be, oh, that's Waseem Khan. They'll come, you're Waseem Khan, sir. We saw you in the paper yesterday that can we have, can you please give us an autograph? Those days, no selfie, no cell phones. So it wasn't so thing. But they talk to me like, there can we shoot with you? And everyone wanted to be a model, right?
Okay.
Even now. So that gives you a false sense of being like a celebrity, So it makes you feel that you're something special when you're actually not. I don't want that ever to happen to me again. It won't.
3 must-haves for a photographer.
Some purpose to your life, which is defined by something creative, something exciting to do. 2 is pure love for what you want to do. Just have like single-minded pure love and honesty. Be honest in who you are, what
Purpose,
you are.
pure love, honesty.
Yeah.
What are the 3 things you carry when you leave home?
These 3.
These
For
3?
sure. Pure love, honesty, and a purpose. What am I leaving home for? Very important, man. Am I going to meet someone important? Am I going to do something special? Am I going to meet something I love? Someone I love? Or am I going to do something I love?
Right.
So important.
Does politics affect you?
It started having an impact on my life lately.
Okay.
2019 December onwards. It seems like lots is building up. There seems to be a certain change in this country to how we look at certain people. It makes me feel extremely sad because I love this country. I love this country so much based on the openness and what it's given me, and no one's asked me why my name is what it is. No one's asked me what I follow, which God I pray to, all of that. Somehow it seems to be sneaking in. That little separation, that little division. And I believe it's political. I believe so. I wish it wasn't. I wish my appeal, honestly, I plead with all the powers that be. Let's live in love. Let's live in love and peace, and and not separate us, not divide us. And I love this country so much. It's my be all and end all. I've resisted going away from it because it's given me all that I have. I love everything about it. I am equally happy in temples or churches or mosques or gurdwaras. I have seen way more temples in this country and been inside and visited and felt the divine in way more Hindu temples than I have in mosques, than I have in churches. But there is a danger.
What is the most unexpected place you have done a shoot at?
Remember that Lee Jeans shoot I told you about?
Right.
I had shot there in December for another Sri Lankan client. The beach was 100 feet wide and many kilometers long. And we shot that whole campaign on that beach with 12 models for a Sri Lankan client. The beach was long. And when we went back to shoot for Lee Jeans, most important shoot of my career, models have landed up from Singapore. Our entire team of 18 people has landed up from Bangalore. We arrive at 12 o'clock midnight, and we've all decided we'll go at 5:30 in the morning to see the morning light on the beach. Beach is not where the rooms are, it's somewhere else. We've gone to sleep for those few hours. Woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning, we go open the door to the beach and the spray is hitting us of water.
Oh my God.
There's no 100 feet beach. The water has taken over even half the restaurant which is on the beach, like a fisherman's seafood spot.
Okay.
Half of that has got wiped out.
Oh my God.
By the water. There's no beach. And my agency guys looking at me and I'm looking at them and I'm saying, where's the beach gone? We run back to the reception and say, where's the beach gone? So there's no beach. He says, no sir, Sri Lanka works that way. Half the year, the beach is there. Half the year, the sea comes and takes away the beach.
Okay.
I'm saying, so what do we do now? We've come with this full team and we're shooting for the campaign for Lee Jeans. So we went hunting on the extra day that we had to find out where there was a beach, and we found one near the airport, which is a beach on the reverse side.
Okay.
So it works in the other way. So
Okay.
6 months this side, 6 months that side.
Okay.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's like how an island works.
That's a fun fact about Sri Lanka.
Exactly.
No, you can say here.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fun fact about Sri Lanka. Half the year the beaches are there and half the year the beaches are gone.
But what's the weirdest request from a client to you?
Now it's not so weird because these are questions that are asked by clients a number of times and probably facilitated by photographers as well, or other people or production houses. But in those days, for me, it sounded extremely weird when a client said, so after the shoot, we'll all go to party together. No, you go home and I go party with my models.
You didn't take your client with the models to
No,
party?
no.
Why?
No, it's not allowed. I go with friends for a party. They just happen to be models. Why would I take my client with my models for a party when the models are my friends? I go with my friends to a party.
How many times you get this request?
Many times.
Yeah. And you never take them. You never take your close friends also with you to party with
Close
the models.
friends I would.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So when are we
Close friends
partying
I would.
next?
Tomorrow.
What is style for you, and what is one style tip you would want to give to people?
Style is inbuilt, I would say, and it's very, very individual to each person. I think, this shirt that I'm wearing is extremely stylish for me. But it may not be to someone else. It may be too loud, it may be garish. I believe that it's a perception, definitely. Style is so fluid. It's like what Bruce Lee said once, be water, my friend.
Yeah.
I love to be water. Be water, my friend.
Be water.
Yeah.
If you go in a glass, you become a glass.
Yeah.
If you go in a tube, you become a tube. You flow like water.
Be water, my friend.
Be water.
So for me, every aspect of my life has always been like water. It's flowed. I have just when I decided for just at that moment to run somewhere. I've run. I don't swim, but if someone said, let's go in this two-seat canoe into the Black Rock Beach water right up to the end, it might flip over a few times. Don't worry, we'll take you out. It's happened. I just do it impulsively, excitingly. So style is everything also in terms of how you want to be as a person, and what makes you feel comfortable is your style statement.
What's the craziest thing you have done on a set?
I was shooting for a campaign for one of the first cell phone operators in India. JTM was first. That became Airtel. There was another competitor to them which opened a few months later called Spice Telecom.
Okay.
Which later became Idea and now is, I think, something else. So Spice Telecom, I did a calendar with some of the hugest supermodels in this country, Ujjwala Raut, Sheetal Malar, Madhu Sapre, all these, they were the big models at that time. So when they came, one of the shots we were meant to do was on a rooftop with a view of MG Road. So the model was sitting, it was a weird but exciting concept that the creative director from JWT, he had this concept for each of the models doing something. Like one shot we shot in a graveyard, in a Christian graveyard, with the whole thing we created mist, and she had a dress flying and she's with a red telephone, with a mobile phone, just standing next to the graveyard. This one concept was actually shooting this model like she's almost falling off a parapet wall. So my friends at 13th floor at that time, they allowed me to go up onto Barton Center and shoot from the roof. So I'm shooting this shot with the model hanging out of the parapet wall with like a 14th floor drop with the road, MG Road, with the traffic going past. That was the shot. And for her to get it, what I actually wanted, and she was a little scared of heights.
To jump out?
No, to actually do that with half the body hanging out.
Okay.
And you needed some core as well. And I always had this thing about working out.
Right.
So I had a good core. I actually jumped to show her that. And I almost slipped. I was so enthusiastic to show her what I meant. I actually, just like this. And I did that and I almost went backwards. And my assistant put his leg on my leg to stop it. I would have gone for a nice big lying, nice tall, nice big prop. So
thanks to the assistant, Waseem Khan is still sitting here and I am talking to him.
A lot of young photographers actually tell me, and I feel good about this, that sir, your images are what we saw. That's why we do this, throw clothes and all that stuff.
But tell me one thing on that. You were the famous person and everything. What is the situation now? Abhi kya hai? How things must have changed.
I'm not famous anymore. I'm just one of the guys
Really?
going out and shooting. Yeah.
Really?
A simple guy sitting at home. Ram.
What is the client demand now? Do they negotiate a lot now?
Yeah, of course they do. I mean, see, negotiation means, like I told you before we started this conversation, now the main thing is the clients already know that I'm on a certain level. So unless they have that budget, they shouldn't approach me. Message out there. If you have a great concept, a great model, and a great job to do, I'll do it for peanuts. I'm a monkey. But bring something amazing for me.
क्योंकि ये बंदर अदरक का स्वाद जानता है.
Absolutely.
You said somebody approached you, said 15,000-20,000 rupees देंगे and कर दो.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. They're not afraid to ask. That's the difference between a few years ago and now. They're not afraid to ask. See, very early on in my career, I heard this one brilliant line by Gisele Bündchen, one of the most famous supermodels of our time,
Right.
from Brazil. She used to say, if you don't have $1 million, I'm not even getting up from my bed in the morning. So I followed that for a long time, and I said, yeah, unless you have you respect my time and my ability to be able to give you some amazing work by paying me what my rate is. Great. If you don't, then thank you so much. You shoot with somebody else. But that has changed somehow, because my value from any job now is my satisfaction that I get from it. The pure love that I have for the medium, and for me to be able to still be relevant and to shoot amazing stuff, I'll go out there and do it for not my usual rate. Definitely.
Being relevant from years and will be relevant for years to come. That's a celebrated photographer, a fashion photographer from Nammuru, Bengaluru, Waseem Khan, an icon of Bengaluru. This is the Tuhin Show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tuhin. Thank you. Such a pleasure to be here, and it's an honor that you accepted my request and had me over on this show to be an icon of Bangalore.
Never thought the icon will come to me and ask me.
My payment I'll give you later for it. Yeah. I love being on the show, so thank you so much. Tuhin, to greater heights. May you take this to the heights that you want it to go. I'm sure many amazing icons have already been a part of your program, and more will join in. I'm just humbled and honored that I'm a part of it. Thank you so much.